People buy people, not products. What does that mean? Well, we'll talk about that this morning and more on 7 a.m. Welcome. And it's not working now. Good morning. John Henry Soto here. It is March 23rd, 2021. March 23rd, 2021. That is correct. And we are discussing about products basically this morning and a few other things as we truck along here on Tuesday. And my opening for some reason gets stuck. I'm supposed to start and I'm there for a few seconds just like an idiot. Say that and more on this morning at 7 a.m. Hello? Anybody? Opening? Opening, please. But anyway, it does start eventually. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful morning out there. I think we've been discussing a lot about different emotional reactions towards life, and sometimes practical techniques are also necessary, just the actual thing to do. There's so many books and so many different gurus out there that will be able to motivate you, right? And give you, you get up that morning, you look in the mirror and you write yourself a note every morning and you put that post up there and you read it to yourself. I am capable. I am worthy. I am invincible. And you move forward and that's how you conquer the day, you know? Then there's the other guys that will just annihilate you and make you feel like crap. Um, it's nothing better than a motivational speaker who makes you feel like crap. Um, but there are some people out there that'll just give you actual practical things to do, and they'll motivate you as well. But for me, it's always been about what do I do? I know I'm a positive guy. I'm not. I don't feel like I just want to know exactly what to do. And sometimes you'll run into guys like that. I guess an example of what to actually do would be, I guess Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk would be. He just tells you what to do. He doesn't tell you to feel good about it. Because sometimes doing these things are a lot of work. Like I look at some of the things that I've done in the last 10 years to learn about film and editing and um, podcasting, video, live. I'm live right now, right? Live streaming, all the things I had to sit down for hours and hours and hours and watch videos and watch people talk about it and explain it incorrectly and correctly, and then try to draw from it my own conclusions and try to put together a way of operating, a way of figuring out things, right? That's overall. But technically, when you find somebody who teaches you technically, okay, go to this website, create an account, then take this thing and then go to this page and then do this, and that's what I like about and that's the content that I enjoy because it's usually just straightforward. It's telling you what you need to do to accomplish certain goals, and it's no different uh, with selling products or selling yourself or selling a service or whatever. Um, and generally, a long time ago, you would go to the corner store because that's where they had stuff, right? You would go to the supermarket because that's where the food was, and that's where there was other things that we needed. Um, but generally, you wouldn't go to the supermarket because of the guy who owned it, right? You wouldn't. That wasn't a thing. You wouldn't go to a doctor that was recommended highly by the community, you would go to the doctor that was closest to you and that would accept your insurance, right? And my have things changed. You can just Google anybody you want, and what comes up is what comes up, right? They can't fight it. Sure, there are little ways that you can, if you have enough money, if you have enough money, you can just buy off a lot of things and get a lot of things removed from social media, and people search for it. It makes you look like you're an angel, right? But there's always one truth, right? And not all that stuff will always come out at the end, and they'll meet their maker, as they say. Um, but today, whenever you're interested in anything, you can just go online and research the hell out of it before you make a purchase, right? Now, if that thing that you want is tied to a person that you admire, or a person that makes you laugh, or you feel like you can trust because there's constant material on them, you're more likely to buy from somebody that you actually like than just because of the product. So, and I've often said in restaurants, when you go to I would much rather go to a restaurant that the food is good but the service is great than the food is great but the service is it's just okay. I'm all about the service for me. The food has to be decent, obviously, right? Because that's what you're going there for. But I've had great food. I've had mediocre food. I've had great food at expensive restaurants with great service, which sucked. Service just was not really good. As a matter of fact, it was bad on a couple occasions that I remember. Um, one we went to this one restaurant once. It was a really nice restaurant, and I remember the the staff. We had a table. They came to us in the middle, not in the middle of our meal. We had finished our meal, but they were basically telling us that our table was reserved, and we had to get up and leave. And I was like, "Well, we're sitting." So I was ready to leave anyway because I was at that point. But I was like, "Oh, okay." So anyway, I left. But as we left, we was with some other people, and they were started kind of talking to me. I was so rude. We were sitting there. They didn't ask anybody else, and it was a table that there was a show starting apparently, and that table that we were sitting in was reserved. So anyway, I called up again, told them that we were disappointed at that. They apologized, and we never went back there again. They shut down anyway. But that was part of for me, the service. The food was good. The food was good. No, actually, the food was great. I just realized the food was really, really good. But that little thing that they did was really just it really just irked us, and we got the hell out of there, and I never went back. Never went back. That was a long, long time ago. But I'll always remember that one occasion, and a few other ones. Went to this really nice restaurant in New York City once with some friends, and we were sitting around, and the waitress comes in. She was the rudest waitress. I mean, this was like a really high end foo piece of crap place, looking piece of, and she was so rude to us. And then she was like, "Should I leave the tip on here?" She was saying, "Should I put the tip on?" And then I was with this woman. She was a model, actually, a very successful model, and she was sitting and she was looking at her, and she was like, "No," she was like, "You don't have to put it on there. We'll put it on the table." The girl was like, "All right." She kind of like rolled her eyes. We were like, Is this a joke? Are we being punked right now? Is this whatever you call it, hidden camera thing?" And we left, and I was gonna leave like $1 or something, and I thought $1 would be an insult, but the girl was with, she grabbed and she threw a dime into the little tray, a dime, and we just walked out. I was like, "Holy cow, a dime!" I was like, "Man, that is a smack in the face." But she deserved it. So that's my point, is that I never went back to that place again. And I don't know what happened to that place. But this is people buy from people, and that might sound a little weird because you're thinking, people buy people. They buy into the trust that they have for an individual. They immediately, if you're going to buy a car, you already know that there's a Tesla out there because of Elon Musk, right? You already know that that's an option. That might be him right there. Um, you know that there's an option to buy a Tesla, right? Who makes the other cars? I'm trying to think now. Who are the big car makers in the world? I can't even think of another car maker. You know what I mean? And my wife and I talk all the time about getting a Tesla. And we will have a few of those very soon. And it's a very interesting thing that we don't really know who else makes cars. Like I know if I go to buy a guitar, I know I'm going to buy a guitar from a brand that I can trust, that I know, that I'm familiar with. I'll buy a Fender, a Les Paul, a Carvin, or something like that. But I would not go out and just buy a guitar from a maker that I'm not familiar with. Now, there's a couple of makers on YouTube, one called Cower, which I'm a huge fan of, and they make amazing guitars, beautiful guitars. Now, when you see a beautiful, just so you know a little bit about guitars, when you an aesthetically beautiful guitar does not mean that it's going to play beautifully, and that happens throughout. There's a lot of makers out there that will make these beautiful guitars, but they'll forget to do a lot of things, and the guitar will not sound good, right? Um, but these guitars sound great, and more than that, the owner of the company, Cower, is the last name of says is Kauru, no, Kaure, something like that. When you I follow him on Instagram, I see him hanging out with his family. I see him at the shop making the guitars. They only make about 100 guitars a year or something. It's not a lot because they have a small factory, a small crew, but they crank out these beautiful guitars that sound really great, but they're very expensive. You know, so I would buy one of those guitars without even playing it because they're in California. I would buy one without even playing it because I've heard it played. Even though I haven't felt it, I feel really comfortable with the company, and I feel like this is a personality who I've actually had conversations with on social, um, and he's always been very, very courteous. Now the guitars are pretty pricey, because he only makes 100 of them a year. They're beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous guitars, and I already know which one I'm getting. But I'm buying that guitar because of the guy, because I got to know him through social media and his personality and how he works on the guitars. If it was just and there are out there, if it was a maker that just has pictures of guitars on their page, just pictures, nothing personal, no insight into the company, just a picture of a guitar, beautiful guitar. I'm not really going to dive into that. I won't, because it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I don't know who this person is anymore, and those days are over. If you go to a doctor or you go to a dentist, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna ask, try to find a good dentist, you're gonna ask people, right? But then you're gonna go online, right? You're gonna go online. They're gonna work on your teeth with a drill. You're gonna go online. This guy has 2 stars. This guy has 3 stars. This guy has 4 stars. I'm gonna go to the 4 star guy because it's my teeth. Now, little fun fact, a little story. I had a really bad tooth situation, and I had to go somewhere, kind of an emergency. And our insurance at the time, this was maybe like 5, 6 years ago, our insurance at the time didn't go to a lot of places. We had really cheap insurance, right? I think it was like by Kellogg's or something. It was really bad. It was that Walmart insurance you sign up for when you buy a pair of slippers. So I said, okay, I need to go somewhere badly. So I go on Google and I try to search for a local dentist. I find a guy maybe 2 blocks away from us, if even that, very, very close. 2 stars. No, no, I'm sorry, 1.5 stars. 1.5 stars. I remember telling my wife, it's not even 2 stars. What am I gonna do? I'm in so much pain. He accepts my insurance. And I thought to myself, well, listen, I'm in pain, I'm dying. He is a dentist, right? I mean, he's obviously there he is. It's a dentist. It's under dentist on Google search. He's got an office. He must be paying rent somehow, right? So somebody made this guy said that this guy is qualified to be a dentist by giving him a space. So I make an appointment with the 1.5 star dentist here in town. I won't say his name, obviously, because the poor guy, maybe he's trying to get better. So I make my appointment. I walk into the dentist's office. It looks just like a dentist's office. You know, there was no farm animals walking around. There was no weird smells. It wasn't in the back of an alley or anything. It wasn't out of the back of a van. It was actually a dentist's office. So I sit down. I'm waiting. I'm in excruciating pain. They finally call me in. I sit down. One thing that I noticed that it was very there were a lot of people walking around in places where normally you wouldn't see people walking around. Now, these were people that worked there, I guess. I'm assuming, but there was just a lot of walking around movement. So it wasn't like a doctor's office where you have the patients are sitting in one place and then you have little rooms on the sides and they put you into a waiting room and then you get brought into the bigger room to see the doctor. It wasn't that type of system. It was basically just a lot of people just walking around. So it looked like a mall, a dentist mall. It wasn't huge, but that's what it felt like. A lot of people walking around. So I get into the dentist. I meet the dentist, nice man, and I get into the chair, and he starts kind of messing with my my stuff, whatever. He looks in there. He's like, okay, we have to extract this. It's infected, and there's a whole problem going on there. So I was like, yeah, just do whatever you got to do. Just get this thing done. So I get in there, and as he puts the Novocaine in, which hurt like hell. Um, Everything goes numb, and he starts grinding and putting pressure. It was so much pressure on my mouth. I was like, "What are you?" It was really really uncomfortable. Just really bad pressure. In the middle of the process, and I'm not making this up. This is 100% happened to me, and I tell the story all the time. In the middle of him actually extracting this tooth and grinding it and just ripping it apart, a woman walks in and she says, "Doctor," she was like, she called his name, whatever it was. "Doctor," and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That was my patient. Why did you take my patient?" He's like, "Well, there was an emergency. I needed to get in here." He's like, "I didn't know what you, that was my patient. I can't believe that you just took one of my patients." And he's like, he had an appointment. He called and they set it up with me. Well, you weren't there and he was in an emergency. So I just came in and they asked me to do it. So I just did it. Go talk to the front desk. I'm sitting there while and they're arguing back and forth about who I belong to, which dentist I belong to. And I'm sitting there going like, what is happening right now? Now in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is brilliant because I'm not in pain anymore because of the Novocaine, right? So I'm sort of enjoying the argument going on because I thought, oh, this is a great story for later on, for when I do a 7 a.m. show. Um, and I thought, is he going to be able to finish this, or are they going to switch dentists and then she's going to come in all pissed off because they tried to take one of her clients? I didn't even know that was a thing. That it was like in the real estate world where somebody walks in and that's your lead, and if somebody else comes in and takes your lead, it's like, hey, that was my lead. I spoke to them first. When did you talk to them? On Tuesday. Well, I talked to them on Monday. Well, I spoke to them on Sunday, actually, originally on the phone, but then I thought it was something like that. Um, but anyway, he finished. He took the tooth out. It was rough. It was not a good experience. He was not smooth. He was sort of like also distracted, obviously, by this woman yelling at him because they took her patient. So at the end of it, he apologized, which I thought was nice. He said, "I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened there." So then you hear her in the background while he's still working. She's like, "He just walks in there and he takes my patient. I couldn't believe it. I'm supposed to be he's supposed to be coming in to see me, and I look in and he's already working on him, so I can't go in there now." So that people are going back and forth. Again, a lot of walking people, just people randomly walking around while I'm being worked on. I think there was like 7 people in my room while this dentist. I mean, I was like, "What is this?" I didn't understand what was going on. I thought it was some kind of a wild world of sports or something, and people were just spectators. I didn't know what they were, what was going on. But anyway, I got out of there. The situation was resolved. As strange as it turned out, or as strange as it was, that experience, they did handle my tooth, um, and I was out of pain in a few days. It was really an uncomfortable situation. But did it deserve a 1.5 star? Probably, probably not because of the service, because the guy did his job. You know what I mean? It wasn't smooth, but I mean, it was a bad situation that I had in my mouth. I had a really bad freaking tooth. So did he do his job? Yes. Was the service good? No. No. The service was horrible. It was terrible. It was the worst I've ever seen in the dentist's office when somebody has a drill in your mouth and freaking lady is arguing with two doctors are arguing about who I belong to. I felt so used. I felt so cheap. um, I felt honored also that they were fighting for me. I was actually so it was a little bit of all that stuff going through me. I felt very emotional and very loved. I just didn't feel. And then the flowers that I got the next day were very, very strange. Just kidding. I didn't get any flowers. But I tell you what, I will never, ever, ever go back there again because of the service. They did the job. If I had another emergency, I would probably go out and try to find somewhere else because the two dentists were fighting. And that was part of the people by people conversation that I'm having today. You know, if if you know if you go out and you research and you see that this person has great numbers, great, and you read the comments and you read this great service, amazing, did a great job, very courteous, very respectful, explained the whole process to me, you're going to go to that person rather than the 1.5 star that had the horrible ratings. I mean, it was, and there were enough people that I could read that were just like pretty bad. Now, it never said that the doctors would be arguing over you, but um, I knew that I shouldn't have done that. I kind of did it because out of desperation, I had to do it. But in retrospect, I probably would go somewhere else that I can go to again for a follow up because there was a follow up that they wanted me to go to. And I was like, I ain't going over there for no follow up. I feel fine right now. The problem is solved. I get little cards in the mail. I'm surprised they even have a system to mail out cards. Um, they send out cards saying, "Hey, it's time for your yearly checkup." I'm like, not happening, not on my watch. So I tell these stories mainly because I want you to see that when you're buying a product or when you're, investing into a person or into something that you're interested in, you know, the person behind it is really what you're purchasing. We all have we all got the iPhones, not me because I know I would never do that, but especially now. But people got their iPhones based on Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs had these amazing presentations, these amazing products, and he promoted them extremely well. We get our PCs, our Microsoft, because of Bill Gates and his billions of dollars of marketing and creating a really good product. The company created a really good product. Whether it's good now, it's irrelevant, right? But they're all using Microsoft software, right? Um, Same thing with Facebook, right? Facebook has been having its difficulties as of late because of trust issues, right? We all know now what they do with our information, and it's out in the open. It's been testifying and defending themselves and falling deeper and deeper. But we still use it, right, for certain things, not for all. I don't use it for all things now, um, but Mark Zuckerberg, um, there's a lot to say about that. I don't really know what exactly to say, but do people trust him? I think they just like the fact that it's a product. We like this. We like the product. Who makes Coca Cola? People drink Coca Cola by the gazillion gallons a year, right? Um, but who's the company? Who's the CEO of Coca Cola? I have no idea. I have no interest in even finding out. I don't drink soda either. But my point is that we still do get certain products based on just the product itself. But things are shifting. Things are shifting to a person to person purchase. And because the entrepreneur now is much more prevalent in society, it's much more likely that you're going to know who is the founder of a company today than it was 20, 30 years ago. And that is really important if you're building a brand, to make sure that you have trust behind that brand, and that you communicate with your audience, and that you're sincere, and that you really want to give a product, and you want to deliver value with your service or your product. And that really is the most important thing that you can do as a business owner. Just focus on that. Don't focus so much on numbers, and all the other stuff is important too, but it's so little compared to the trust issues that you have to gain with your audience. All right, folks, thank you very much. I went over a little bit by a few minutes. I try to stick to 23 minutes, but we're at 26 now, 26 and a half. But I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you're out there, God bless you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Make today great. Always do the things that you love, and things will be fantastic. I guarantee. Take care of yourself. God bless. And as always, peace.